Alex Morrison stood at the viewport of Nexus Station, watching the stars. It was his first week as Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Concordat, and everything still felt unreal. The massive space station housed representatives from 27 alien civilizations. Humans were the newest members, having joined the interstellar community just 6 months ago. "Ambassador Morrison, shall we continue the tour?" asked Grell, his Vakari guide. The tall, insect-like alien's mandibles clicked impatiently. "Of course," Alex said, straightening his blue diplomatic uniform. He followed Grell down a curved corridor lined with strange plants from a dozen worlds. Alex had been a cybersecurity expert before being chosen for this role. He wasn't a career diplomat, but Earth's leadership had decided to send someone who understood technology and could think creatively. The other species respected knowledge and adaptability more than political experience. As they passed a restricted section, Alex noticed unusual activity. Several Vakari guards were escorting a smaller alien with blue skin and silver-white hair. She was struggling against her captors, her four-fingered hands bound behind her back. "What's happening there?" Alex asked, stopping to watch. Grell stepped in front of him, blocking his view. "Merely standard procedure. Nothing that concerns Earth's interests." The blue alien locked eyes with Alex for a moment. Her eyes were entirely silver, with no visible pupils, but the fear in them was unmistakable. Then the Vakari guards pulled her through a doorway, and she was gone. "But that alien seemed distressed," Alex pressed. "It is not your concern," Grell repeated, his voice colder. "The Concordat has many traditions and protocols that newcomers find unfamiliar. In time, you will understand our ways." Alex nodded and continued following Grell, but he couldn't forget those silver eyes. Later that evening, Alex sat in his quarters, unable to sleep. The station's artificial day cycle had shifted to night mode, dimming the lights in the corridors. He paced the room, thinking about what he had seen. After an hour of restlessness, he sat at his computer terminal. Earth had insisted that all human quarters be equipped with their own technology, not just Concordat systems. It was a security measure that now proved useful. Alex's fingers flew across the keyboard as he accessed the station's main network. His cybersecurity background made the hack relatively simple. The Concordat relied more on trust and restricted physical access than digital safeguards. "Let's see what you're hiding," he murmured. He found the security logs for the restricted section and played back the footage from earlier that day. The blue alien was being processed in what looked like a ceremonial manner. The Vakari officials placed a metal collar around her neck and marked her face with red symbols. Alex dug deeper into the files and found a name: Lyra, a female of the Elunari species. The Elunari were one of the oldest members of the Concordat, but had little political power. According to the records, Lyra had been selected for something called an atonement ceremony. Further searching revealed disturbing details. The ceremony would take place in 2 days on Vrek 9, a moon orbiting a gas giant in a nearby system. The files referred to the beasts that awaited her there. Alex's stomach tightened as he pieced together the truth. This wasn't just a ceremony. It was a sacrifice. He searched for information about the Elunari and found historical records. Centuries ago, they had been a prosperous civilization with advanced technology, but they had refused to share certain discoveries with the Vakari, who subsequently declared war on them. After their defeat, the Elunari were forced to join the Concordat under harsh terms. Part of those terms included periodic atonements, where chosen Elunari were sent to face the beasts. "This is barbaric," Alex whispered, closing the files and erasing evidence of his intrusion into the system. He couldn't sleep that night. The next morning, he sent a message to a local merchant named Xavi, who was listed in the station directory as an Elunari trader of rare items. They met in a quiet corner of the station's market level, among stalls selling goods from across the galaxy. Xavi was shorter than Alex, with the same blue skin and silver hair as Lyra, though his was cut short. His hands trembled slightly as they spoke. "You're asking dangerous questions, human ambassador," Xavi said quietly. "Why do you care about our troubles?" "Because what I saw yesterday wasn't right," Alex replied. "Your people are being punished for something that happened generations ago, and I want to understand why no one stops it." Xavi looked around nervously before answering. "The Vicari control much of the Concordat's military power. The other species look away because they fear becoming the next target. As for my people, ... His voice dropped even lower. "We have been broken by centuries of subjugation. Those who show too much spirit or intelligence are selected for atonement, like Lyra?" Alex asked. Xavi's silver eyes widened. "You know her name? I accessed some files. What did she do?" "She is a teacher. She taught our children about our history, our achievements before the Vicari came. That is forbidden." Xavi looked down. "Now she will face the beasts on Vrek 9. What exactly are these beasts?" "Creatures engineered by the Vicari to hunt intelligently, and cruelly. The moon's atmosphere is toxic to most species. The atonement involves leaving our people there with limited air supply, so the beasts can find them before the atmosphere does." Xavi's voice was hollow. "No one has ever returned." Alex felt cold. "And everyone just accepts this?" "It has been this way for 13 generations, Xavi said. "The Vicari broadcast the atonements across the Concordat as warnings. Most species have learned to ignore them." Before they parted, Alex asked, "Is there any way to help her?" Xavi stared at him in disbelief. "Help? No one has ever interfered. With an atonement, it would mean challenging the Vicari directly." He shook his head. "I appreciate your concern, human ambassador, but please forget about this, for your own safety." Back in his quarters, Alex opened a secure channel to Earth. Director Samantha Peters of the Diplomatic Corps appeared on his screen, her gray hair pulled back tightly. "Morrison, this better be important. It's 3 a.m. in Washington." Alex told her everything he had discovered. When he finished, he expected outrage, or at least concern. Instead, she sighed heavily. "Ambassador Morrison, I understand this is troubling to you, but we cannot interfere in Concordat traditions, especially not as new members. But Director, they're going to execute this woman for teaching history." "Alex," she said, using his first name to emphasize her point, "this is how galactic politics works. Sometimes we must overlook unpleasantness for the greater good. Earth needs the Concordat's technology and protection. We cannot risk our position by antagonizing the Vicari, so we just let this happen? I am ordering you to stand down. That's final." Her expression softened slightly. "I'm sorry, Alex, but this isn't our fight." After the call ended, Alex stood at his viewport again, looking at the stars. He thought about Earth's history, about times when people had looked away from injustice, because it was safer or more convenient. He thought about Lyra's silver eyes, filled with fear, and he began to plan. Alex couldn't sleep that night. He kept seeing Lyra's frightened silver eyes in his mind. Outside his viewport, the stars seemed to judge him silently. What was the point of humanity joining the galactic community if they had to abandon their principles to fit in? By morning, he had made his decision. If he couldn't save Lyra officially, he would do it unofficially. First, he needed more information. Alex spent the day casually exploring Nexus Station, noting the security patterns and shuttle bay protocols. He learned that the atonement ceremony would take place the next morning. The Vicari would transport Lyra to Vrek 9 on a ceremonial vessel, leaving her on the surface with just 6 hours of air in her environmental suit. Enough time for the beasts to find her, but not enough for her to die from the toxic atmosphere first. It was deliberately cruel. Alex found the docking bay where smaller vessels were kept. As Earth's ambassador, he had been granted a personal shuttle for short trips around the local system. It was a standard model, nothing special, but it had decent range and life support for 2 people. More importantly, it wasn't closely monitored. That evening, he received another call from Director Peters. "I hope you've put yesterday's matter out of your mind, Ambassador," she said, her face stern on the screen. "Of course, Director," Alex lied. "I understand Earth's position." "Good. We've received reports that you've been exploring the station rather extensively today." Alex kept his expression neutral. "Just getting familiar with my new home. The station is enormous." Peters looked unconvinced. "Remember your orders, Morrison. The Vrikari delegation has specifically invited you to observe tomorrow's ceremony. From the station. I expect you to attend and show appropriate diplomatic respect." "The ceremony?" Alex feigned ignorance. "The atonement ritual. Consider it a cultural experience. One that will help you understand the Concordat better." Her voice softened slightly. "I know this is difficult, Alex, but we all have to make compromises out here." After the call ended, Alex sat in silence for a long moment. They wanted him to watch, to see how things worked in the Concordat, to learn his place. He opened his closet and removed his environmental suit. All human diplomats were equipped with them, standard procedure for space travel. The suit was designed to work in most non-Earth atmospheres for up to 30 hours. It would be enough. Next, he packed a small bag with emergency supplies, medical equipment, and ration bars. Then he accessed his shuttle systems remotely and programmed a new fuel mixture that would register on scans as imbalanced. Nothing dangerous. Just enough to justify an unscheduled maintenance run at midnight, when the station's activity was at its lowest. Alex put his plan into motion. He sent a message to station control requesting permission to perform routine maintenance on his shuttle, citing the fuel imbalance. Permission was granted without question. The Concordat species were used to the strange habits of humans, who often preferred to do things themselves rather than rely on station robots. Alex walked through the quiet corridors carrying his bag and wearing his environmental suit with the helmet tucked under his arm. If anyone questioned him, he would say he was testing the suit's systems. But no one did. At the shuttle bay, he quickly boarded his vessel and ran through the startup sequence. The shuttle hummed to life, its systems glowing in the dim light. Alex sent a final message to Control. "Earth Shuttle. Delta requesting departure for local system calibration and Earth ritual observance. Will return in approximately 15 hours. There was a pause before the reply came. "Request granted. Earth Shuttle Delta. Maintain standard safety protocols." The docking clamps released, and Alex guided the shuttle out of the station. Once clear, he adjusted course, not toward empty space as he had indicated, but toward the gas giant Vrek and its 9th moon. The journey would take 6 hours. Alex set the autopilot and tried to rest, knowing he would need all his strength later. But sleep wouldn't come. Instead, he reviewed everything he knew about Vreknine. The moon had a toxic atmosphere, not immediately fatal, but it would cause tissue damage after prolonged exposure. The surface was mostly barren rock and dust, with scattered pools of liquid, methane, and somewhere on that desolate surface lived the beasts, bioengineered predators created by the Vrikari, specifically for the atonement ritual. Alex had no weapons beyond a small utility laser used for cutting through debris. He would have to rely on stealth and speed. As the shuttle approached Vrek 9, Alex detected another vessel already in orbit, the Vrikari ceremonial ship. He kept his distance, using the moon's magnetic field to mask his signature. Through his viewport, he could see the larger ship descending toward the surface. Alex followed, keeping several kilometers back. He watched as the Vakari ship landed in a flat valley surrounded by jagged rock formations. Through his shuttle's enhanced viewing screen, he saw several figures exit the ship. Even from this distance, he could make out Lyra's blue skin among the taller Vakari. The ceremony was brief. The Vakari formed a circle around Lyra. One of them spoke words Alex couldn't hear. Then they placed something on the ground beside her, probably survival supplies that would prove useless against the beasts. Finally, they returned to their ship, leaving Lyra alone on the barren surface. Alex waited until the Vakari ship lifted off and disappeared into the clouds before landing his shuttle about half a kilometer from Lyra's position. He sealed his helmet, checked his oxygen levels, and grabbed his supply bag. "This is either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever done," he muttered to himself as he opened the airlock. The surface of Rec 9 was even more hostile up close. The sky was a sickly yellow-green, and the gravity slightly stronger than Earth's. Alex's boots crunched on the rocky soil as he made his way toward Lyra. She saw him coming and backed away in fear. She wore a thin environmental suit with Vakari markings, and her silver eyes were wide with confusion. Behind her helmet visor. Alex approached slowly, hands raised to show he meant no harm. When he was close enough, he activated his suit's external speaker. "My name is Alex Morrison. I'm the human ambassador to the Concordat," he said. "I'm here to help you." Lyra stared at him in disbelief. She spoke, and his suit translated her words. "Why would you come here?" "This is an atonement. No one interferes with an atonement." "Well, I'm interfering," Alex said. "My shuttle is nearby. If we hurry, we can leave before." A low rumble interrupted him. The ground trembled beneath their feet. In the distance, something large moved among the rocks. Lyra's voice shook with fear. "The beasts. They're coming." Alex grabbed Lyra's arm. "Run!" he shouted, pulling her toward his shuttle. They sprinted across the rocky ground as the rumbling grew louder. Alex glanced back and saw something emerge from behind a ridge of rocks. It was massive, at least 3 meters tall at the shoulder, with 6 powerful legs and a long serpentine neck. Its skin was pale and translucent, revealing pulsing organs beneath. It had no eyes that Alex could see, but its head turned toward them with terrible precision. "It senses our vibrations," Lyra gasped as they ran. The beasts hunt by feeling movement through the ground. The creature let out a high-pitched screech and began to pursue them, its 6 legs carrying it across the terrain with frightening speed. Worse, 2 more beasts appeared from different directions, converging on their position. "They're hurting." Alex realized with horror. The shuttle was now behind one of the creatures. "This way," he said, changing direction toward a narrow ravine. It wasn't the way to the shuttle, but they needed cover. They slid down into the ravine just as one of the beasts reached the edge above them. It paced back and forth, screeching in frustration. Its long neck stretched down toward them, revealing rows of needle-like teeth. "They won't follow us down here," Lyra explained, her voice shaking. "The ravines are too narrow for their bodies." Alex looked around. The ravine stretched in 2 directions. "Which way?" "It doesn't matter," Lyra said. "The ravine won't lead to your shuttle, and the beasts will be waiting when we come out. Then we'll have to outsmart them." Alex checked his suit's systems. The toxic atmosphere was already beginning to stress the outer layer, but he still had plenty of oxygen. He looked at Lyra's suit. The Vakari-made garment was thinner, less durable. "How much air do you have?" 5 hours, she replied. "They always give enough time for the beasts to find us before the air runs out." Alex activated his suit's scanner, searching for options. The ravine they were in joined a larger network of crevices cutting through the moon's surface. Some were too small for humans to pass through, but others might provide a path. "We need to get back to the shuttle," Alex said. "It's our only way off this moon." "Why did you come here?" Lyra asked as they moved deeper into the ravine. "No one has ever interfered with an atonement before." "Because it's wrong," Alex said simply. "Where I come from, we don't leave people to die when we can help." "What did you do to deserve this anyway?" Lyra was quiet for a moment as they climbed over a fallen rock. "I taught children about our past, about who we were before the Vakari conquered us. We were once scientists and explorers with technology that rivaled the Vakari. They want us to forget, to believe we have always been servants." They reached a junction where the ravine split in 3 directions. Alex consulted his scanner again. "This way should take us in a wide arc back toward the shuttle." As they moved through the narrow passage, the walls sometimes pressed in so tightly they had to turn sideways to squeeze through. Above them, they occasionally heard the screeching of the beasts as they paced along the edges, waiting for their prey to emerge. "The Vakari created these creatures specifically for the atonements," Lyra explained. "They're designed to hunt intelligently and ... painfully. They don't kill quickly." "Well, they're not killing either of us today," Alex said with more confidence than he felt. After nearly an hour of navigating the ravine system, Alex's scanner showed they were approaching a point where they might be able to exit not far from the shuttle. But as they neared the spot, they heard the now familiar rumble of the beasts. "They've anticipated our route," Lyra said, her silver eyes wide with fear. Alex looked around desperately. The ravine here was wider, with several large boulders scattered about. An idea formed in his mind. "Your suit," he said. "The beasts track movement, right? What if we create a distraction?" He explained his plan quickly. Using the remote access to his shuttle, Alex activated its external lights and atmospheric vents, creating noise and vibration about 1/2 kilometer away. The sudden disturbance caused the beasts to hesitate, their attention divided. "Now," Alex said. He helped Lyra climb up the ravine wall at a spot where it sloped less steeply. They emerged onto the surface just as the beasts began moving toward the shuttle's disturbance. "Run, but step lightly," Alex whispered. They moved as quickly and quietly as possible, keeping low among the rocks. They had covered about half the distance to the shuttle when disaster struck. Alex's foot dislodged a loose stone, sending it tumbling down a slope. The noise was small, but enough. One of the beasts turned, its head swinging in their direction. "Go!" Alex shouted, abandoning stealth. They sprinted the remaining distance. As the beast charged toward them, followed quickly by the others, the shuttle loomed ahead, its hatch still open from Alex's exit. "Almost there," he gasped, but the beasts were faster. The lead creature would reach them before they made it to safety. In a split-second decision, Alex pushed Lyra ahead toward the shuttle and turned to face the beast. Activating his utility laser, the small cutting tool was not designed as a weapon, but Alex aimed it at the creature's translucent skin, hoping to hit something vital. The beast reared up, its front legs pawing the air as it prepared to strike. "Alex!" Lyra screamed from the shuttle entrance. The beast lunged. Alex dove to the side, firing the laser continuously at the creature's underbelly. It screeched in pain as the beam cut into its flesh, revealing pulsing organs beneath the translucent skin. A greenish fluid sprayed from the wound. The injury didn't stop the beast, but it slowed it enough for Alex to scramble away. He ran the final few meters to the shuttle as the beast recovered and charged again. He dove through the hatch, and Lyra slammed the control panel, closing it just as the creature crashed against the side of the vessel. Inside, they gasped for breath as the shuttle rocked from the impacts of the beasts outside. "Will they damage the ship?" Lyra asked. her voice trembling. Alex rushed to the cockpit. The hull is designed to withstand meteorite impacts. It should hold against them. He began the launch sequence, and the engines hummed to life. The beasts screeched in frustration as the shuttle lifted off the surface of Rec 9. Through the viewport, Alex and Lyra watched the creatures grow smaller below them until they were just tiny specks on the barren landscape. "We did it," Alex said, allowing himself a moment of relief. "We actually did it." Lyra stared at him with wonder in her silver eyes. "You risked your life for me." "Why?" Alex thought about Earth, about humanity's long history of both cruelty and compassion. "Because that's what humans do at our best," he said. "We don't stand by when we see injustice." But their relief was short-lived. As the shuttle broke through the moon's atmosphere, an alert sounded from the communication system. A message was coming through on the emergency channel. "Ambassador Morrison," came Director Peters' voice, cold with fury. "Return to Nexus Station. Immediately. You have violated multiple Concordat protocols and created a diplomatic incident of the highest order." Alex and Lyra exchanged glances. They had escaped the beasts, but their troubles were far from over. Alex's hands tightened on the shuttle controls. He had known there would be consequences, but hearing the anger in Director Peters' voice made them suddenly very real. "What will they do to you?" Lyra asked quietly. "I don't know," Alex admitted. "But whatever happens, I don't regret helping you." He opened a channel to respond to Peters. "Director, I understand your concern, but I couldn't stand by and—" "Save it, Morrison," Peters cut him off. "The Vrakari High Commander is demanding your immediate return. They're calling this an act of war." Alex felt his stomach drop. "War? That's ridiculous. I rescued one person from an unjust death. You interfered with their sacred traditions. Return to the station now, or Earth will disavow all your actions." Alex looked at Lyra, who was watching him with worried silver eyes. If he returned to the station, the Vrakari would demand she be sent back to Vrek 9 for another atonement ceremony. If he didn't return, Earth would abandon him, and they would become fugitives. "Director, I need time to consider our options," he said finally. "There are no options, Ambassador. Return. Now." The communication cutoff. Alex set the shuttle on a course away from Nexus Station, but not directly back to it. "They needed time to think. They'll track us," Lyra said. "The shuttle has standard Concordat trackers." "Already disabled them," Alex replied, pointing to a panel he had removed earlier. "Old habit from my security days. Never leave a back door open." Lyra seemed impressed. "What will we do now?" Alex checked their fuel and supplies. "We have enough resources for about 3 days. Not enough to reach any human outposts, but maybe enough to find help." He brought up a star chart on the main display. "There's a trading outpost at Helios Station, about 18 hours from here. It's technically neutral territory. We might find allies there, or at least a way to communicate our side of the story before the Vrakari version spreads." As they set course for Helios Station, warning signals flashed on the scanner. 3 ships were approaching from the direction of Nexus Station, Vrakari pursuit vessels, much faster than their small shuttle. "They're not wasting any time," Alex muttered. He pushed the engines to maximum speed, but knew they couldn't outrun the Vrakari ships. "There's a debris field from an old mining operation near the 4th planet," Lyra suggested, pointing to the chart. "We could hide there until they pass." It was their best option. Alex changed course, heading for the debris field. The shuttle shuddered as he pushed its engines beyond their recommended limits. They reached the debris field just as the Vrakari ships came within visual range. Alex maneuvered between floating chunks of metal and rock, the remains of an abandoned mining operation. He powered down all non-essential systems to minimize their energy signature. The 3 Vakari ships slowed as they approached the field. One remained at the edge, while the other 2 began to carefully navigate through the debris. "They know we're in here," Alex said. "We need to stay absolutely still and hope they miss us." Minutes stretched into an hour as the Vakari ships methodically searched the field. Alex and Lyra sat in tense silence, barely breathing as one of the ships passed within 50 meters of their position. Just when it seemed they might escape detection, a piece of debris bumped against their hull, creating a small but audible sound. It echoed through the shuttle. The nearest Vakari ship immediately changed course, heading straight for them. "They heard us," Lyra whispered. Alex's mind raced. They couldn't outrun the Vakari ships, and they had no weapons to fight back. But perhaps they could use the environment to their advantage. "Hold on," he said, powering up the engines suddenly. The shuttle lurched forward, heading deeper into the debris field where the chunks of rock and metal were larger and more densely packed. The Vakari ship followed, sending messages demanding they stop. Alex ignored them, focusing on navigating the increasingly dangerous field. He spotted what he was looking for, a cluster of large mining equipment, partially intact. It formed a narrow passage that their small shuttle could navigate, but would be challenging for the larger Vakari vessel. "This is going to be close," he warned Lyra as he aimed for the passage. Their shuttle scraped against the metal as they squeezed through. Behind them, the Vakari ship tried to follow but was too large. It clipped one of the structures, sending it spinning. This created a chain reaction as debris collided with more debris, quickly turning the area into a chaotic storm moving objects. Alex pushed the shuttle through, narrowly avoiding the worst of it. When they emerged on the other side, they saw the Vakari ships falling back, unable to safely follow. "That won't stop them for long," Alex said, "but it gives us some time." He set a new course, no longer for Helios Station. The Vakari would surely have alerted all nearby outposts by now. Instead, he aimed for a small moon orbiting the system's outermost planet. According to the charts, it had a breathable atmosphere and was rarely visited. As they approached the moon, Lyra gasped. "Alex, look at the readings." The scanner showed unusual energy signatures coming from the surface. It wasn't natural. It was technology, and sophisticated technology at that. "There shouldn't be anything here," Alex said, confused. "This moon is listed as uninhabited. Those energy patterns." Lyra's voice was barely a whisper. "They match old Elunari designs from before the conquest." Alex looked at her in surprise. "How would you know that?" "I told you I taught our history," she said. "I studied our ancient technologies in secret." They landed near the source of the energy readings, in a valley surrounded by tall, dark blue mountains. The air was thin but breathable, so they left their helmets off as they exited the shuttle. The landscape was barren and rocky, with patches of strange, low-growing silver plants. But it was what lay ahead that took their breath away. A structure, built into the mountainside, clearly artificial, with smooth walls made of a blue-black material that seemed to absorb light. "It's an Elunari research outpost," Lyra said, her voice filled with wonder. "From before the Vakari conquest. I thought they were all destroyed." They approached the structure cautiously. There was a large door, sealed shut with no obvious way to open it. Lyra ran her hand over the smooth surface, murmuring words in a language Alex's translator couldn't catch. To his amazement, the door responded to her touch, sliding open silently to reveal a dark corridor beyond. "How did you do that?" he asked. "Elunari technology responds to our bioelectric field," she explained. "It recognizes me as one of its creators." They entered the outpost, and lights activated automatically, illuminating a space that had remained untouched for centuries. The air was stale but breathable. Inside were machines and devices Alex couldn't begin to understand, covered in a thin, layer of dust. This is incredible, Lara said, moving from one station to another. This outpost was studying the moon's unique magnetic properties. They were developing defenses against the beasts here. Defenses? Alex asked. You mean weapons? Not exactly. More like repulsion technology. The beasts are sensitive to certain sonic frequencies. She activated one of the consoles, and to Alex's surprise, it hummed to life. This technology could have saved my people from centuries of subjugation. As Lyra explored the outpost with growing excitement, Alex checked their shuttle's communications. The Vakari ships were still searching the debris field, but they would eventually figure out where the shuttle had gone. Lyra, he said, we need to find a way to use this technology to help us. The Vakari will find us eventually. She nodded, her silver eyes gleaming with determination. I think we can do more than just help ourselves, Alex. With what's in this outpost, we might be able to help all my people. For the first time since their escape from Breknine, Alex saw real hope in her face. But that hope was tempered by the knowledge that powerful enemies were hunting them, and time was running out. Alex watched as Lyra worked quickly at the ancient Elunari controls. Her fingers moved with surprising confidence for someone who had only studied these systems in secret. I never thought I would see this technology actually working, she said. The Vakari destroyed all records of our achievements. I pieced together scraps of knowledge from hidden texts. What exactly does this outpost do? Alex asked, keeping one eye on the scanner that monitored for approaching ships. It was a defensive research station. The scientists here were developing ways to repel the beasts. Lyra activated a large circular platform in the center of the room. Above it, a holographic display flickered to life, showing detailed images of the beasts. The Vakari created the beasts to control us, but our ancestors were finding ways to fight back. Alex studied the display. Did they succeed? They were close, Lyra said, her silver eyes reflecting the blue light of the hologram. According to these logs, they had developed a sonic emitter that disrupts the beast's sensory systems. The Vakari must have discovered this place was getting close to a solution, which is why they attacked when they did. The scanner beeped, drawing Alex's attention. The Vakari ships have left the debris field. They're spreading out to search nearby systems. We don't have much time, Lara said. She moved to another console and began downloading data onto a portable device she had found. This information could free my people from generations of fear. Alex checked their shuttle systems remotely. The shuttle's repairs are complete, but we're low on fuel. We can't outrun them for long. We might not need to, Lyra said. She pointed to a large device in the corner of the room. This is a prototype of the sonic emitter. It's small enough to fit in our shuttle. Together, they disconnected the device and carried it back to the shuttle. It was heavy, but in the moon's lower gravity, they managed. Once it was secured in the cargo area, Lyra connected it to the shuttle's power systems. It needs time to charge, she explained. The technology has been dormant for centuries. Alex checked the scanner again. One of the Vakari ships was changing course, heading in their direction. They might have detected our energy signature. We need to move. They hurriedly gathered the remaining useful data and devices from the outpost. As they prepared to leave, Lyra took one last look at the ancient facility. My ancestors built this, she said softly. They were brilliant scientists, not servants. The Elunari should know their true history. They will, Alex promised. But first, we need to survive. They launched the shuttle just as the Vakari ship appeared in the sky above. This time, there was no hiding or running. The Vakari vessel was faster and more powerful. It locked a tractor beam on their small craft, halting their escape. Ambassador Morrison, came a cold voice over the communication system. This is High Commander Vrex of the Vrikari Enforcement Fleet. You are ordered to surrender the Alunari. Criminal immediately. Alex looked at Lyra, who was frantically working to activate the sonic emitter. It's not fully charged yet, she whispered. Alex opened the channel. High Commander, this isn't what you think. The atonement ritual is based on a lie. The Alunari weren't criminals. They were developing technology you feared. Your ignorance of our ways does not excuse your interference, Vrex replied. The human race will learn its place in the Concordat. Surrender now or face destruction. Alex's mind raced. He needed to buy time. Before you do anything drastic, you should know that I've been recording everything since I left Nexus Station. The beasts, the atonement ritual, and now this ancient Elunari outpost. If anything happens to us, that recording will be sent to every species in the Concordat. There was a pause before Vrex responded. You are bluffing, human. Am I? Alex activated the shuttle's external camera feed and pointed it at the outpost. This facility contains proof that the Alunari were developing defenses against your beasts. The truth about why you subjugated them will be revealed to all. As he spoke, Alex noticed 2 more ships appearing on the scanner, not Vrikari vessels, but Earth diplomatic cruisers. Director Peter's voice came through on a secure channel. Morrison, what have you done? The entire Concordat is in uproar. The Vrikari are threatening to withdraw, and several other species are demanding explanations. Director, I've discovered something important, Alex said quickly. The Vrikari have been lying about the Elunari for centuries. This isn't about atonement. It's about suppressing technology that threatened their power. Before Peters could respond, Lyra called out, It's ready. Alex cut the communication and nodded to Lyra. She activated the sonic emitter, directing it toward the Vrikari ship. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then the tractor beam flickered and failed. It works. On their ships too, Lyra said with surprise. The Vrikari technology must share common elements with the beasts. The Vrikari vessel began to drift, its systems disrupted by the sonic waves. Alex seized the opportunity to move their shuttle away. All Concordat vessels, this is Ambassador Alex Morrison of Earth. He broadcast on an open channel. I am transmitting evidence of a centuries-old deception. The Elunari atonement ritual is not justice, it is oppression based on fear. He began transmitting the data Lyra had gathered from the outpost, along with his recordings of the beasts and the atonement. Ritual. The Earth vessels moved to intercept the Vrikari ship, creating a standoff. Director Peter's voice returned, sounding both angry and resigned. Morrison, get your shuttle to the main Earth vessel now. This situation has escalated beyond your authority. As they docked with the Earth diplomatic cruiser, Alex and Lyra were met by a security team. Director Peters was waiting, her expression severe. You've created an interstellar incident, Ambassador, she said. The Vrikari are demanding your extradition and the return of the Elunari. Have you seen the evidence I transmitted? Alex asked. Peters nodded reluctantly. It single quotes S. Compelling. Several neutral species in the Concordat are calling for an investigation into the Vrikari practices. In the days that followed, the truth spread throughout the Concordat. The Elunari, inspired by Lyra's escape and the discovery of their ancient technology, began to resist their oppressors openly. Other species, long uncomfortable with the atonement rituals, but unwilling to challenge the powerful Vrikari, now spoke out. Alex faced a disciplinary hearing, but was ultimately commended for upholding Earth's principles of justice and compassion. The incident established humanity's reputation in the Concordat, not as the strongest or most advanced species, but as one unwilling to abandon its moral compass for political convenience. Lyra became the first official Elunari representative to the Concordat. The sonic technology from the ancient outpost was developed further, finally freeing her people from the threat of the beasts. 1 month after their escape from Wreck 9, Alex visited Lyra at the new Illuminari embassy on Nexus Station. Children from her species gathered around her as she taught them openly about their history and achievements. "They left me to the beasts," Lyra told the children, "but a human refused to let me die. And in saving one life, he helped free all of us." She smiled at Alex, her silver eyes bright with gratitude and hope for the future. That is why we must never forget what compassion can accomplish, even in the darkest times. Alex smiled back, knowing that whatever challenges lay ahead for humanity among the stars, they had begun their journey by staying true to the best of what made them human.